I'm David Burgess and I'm the Group Chief Pilot for SAS. So night vision goggles, or NVGs as they're known, they look like a pair of binoculars and you wear them on a specially adapted helmet. They have a battery pack either on the back of the helmet or on the front, and they consist of two image intensifying tubes that amplify the available light and project pictures onto some small screens inside the goggles that you look at. Take quite a bit of adjustment, but once they're set up then you're good to go. You can then walk out and fly with them. And so in almost complete darkness you can then see what's going on outside. There's no focusing required and there's no adjustment to the brightness, it happens all automatically. The goggles themselves, they're mounted in front of your face on your helmet and they're probably a good inch away from your eyes, and they do allow you to look underneath at the instrument panel. So as well as the goggles and a specially adapted helmet, you also need an adapted helicopter with special lights on the instruments that mean that they don't affect the goggles, and that's a bluey-green colour that the goggles are not affected by. Also, to enable things to go on in the cabin that may not be NVG compatible, there may be medical equipment with red lights, for example, that would affect the goggles. We'll put a curtain up between the cockpit and the cabin. The great thing about flying with goggles is that it really does allow you to see a lot more in the dark than you can otherwise. You can see other aircraft, for example, roads, rivers, railways, which are a great help in navigation. You get a great view of the horizon, so orientation of the aircraft and orientation of yourself in space is very much easier than it is normally in the dark. Navigation is much easier. You can be absolutely certain of your position, and on a HEMS mission, for example, you can see and identify your landing site much earlier. You can plan your approach and you can plan the way you arrive at the scene in advance. It also aids the medical crew, the doctors and paramedics who are flying, because they will fly with goggles as well, and it allows them to orientate themselves on the scene rather than arriving in complete pitch blackness. Things to watch out for with NVG: they do make obstacles quite hard to see, and of course if we're going to land we want to have a field that's clear of wires. You can only see those by day, but wires are very hard to see under goggles. To counter that, we do quite a lot of rigorous flight planning. We have the best obstruction data that we can. Before we fly, we will plan very carefully where we're going to land. You need to have a certain amount of light for the goggles to work. They won't work in pitch darkness. That could be starlight, moonlight, or cultural lighting, and by that I mean street lights or lights from houses, lights from towns, or perhaps light from the helicopters. You do need some light there. Some of the issues that we have with lighting, of course, when bright lights are shone at the goggles, the automatic adjustment means that the bright light will cause the goggles to shut down. It happens instantly, and as soon as you look away from that bright light, they open out again, and so you get back to full vision. But if we get car headlights, a bright torch even shining straight at the aircraft, straight at the goggles, then that will be a problem. Weather is another factor. They don't allow you to fly in the same weather as you do by day. One of the problems is that they can lull you into a bit of a false sense of security, and you can find yourself pushing on into decreasing visibility. They will see through haze and mist to a certain extent, but then you'll suddenly find yourself actually in cloud, and then you have to have a backup plan for recovering. Another issue, of course, with the goggles is it's a bit like looking at the world through a pair of toilet roll tubes. It's a very reduced field of view. There's no 3D vision. You have to gauge near objects and far objects using other cues. And they're pretty hefty things to wear on the front of your head. They can be quite tiring, and of course they're cumbersome as well, and you find yourself banging other things in the cockpit with these goggles on the front of your head. It's a skill that you have to learn. Night vision goggles in the HEMS world, it will allow us to take the aircraft into accident sites and into fields by night, not quite the same as we would by day, but almost. And it will allow us to take doctors and paramedics to seriously injured people in the dark as well as in the daylight. Once you've used NVGs, you never want to go back.